all the folks of City Day here at the Capitol. Thank you for your service and your attendance today. And we won't run everybody out of the room here if you're standing up, but let's just try to fill all the seats. If there's an open seat, let's try to find a seat, and we'll try to let everybody continue to participate in the room and not have to go to an overflow room. We've got 5 bills on our agenda today that should move fairly quickly. We might have a little discussion on a couple of them. So with that said, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Senator Chambers Armstrong. Here. Senator Elkins.
Present.
Senator Harper Angel. Here. Senator Mays Bledsoe. Senator McDaniel. Here. Senator Storm. Here. Senator Thayer. Here. Senator Wheeler. Here. Senator Williams. Here. Senator Nemes.
Present.
Senator Mills.
I'm here, and we have a quorum. We can constitute to do business here. We, as always, we try to help our members that have a busy schedule here at the end of session, so we're going to juggle our calendar, our schedule around a little bit. First up will be Senate Bill 215, brought to us by Senator Carpenter. As he makes his way to the desk. Senator, if you can introduce yourself for the record, and the floor is yours.
Appreciate it, Mr. Chairman. Thank you for working with schedules. Senator Jared Carpenter, 34th District, live in the big city of Berea. So appreciate being in front of your committee first time this year. So I'll get right to it. If you want to do something with the Senate bill, the substitute for 215, Mr. Chairman.
We do. We have a motion on the committee sub. Is there a second? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, the sub is before us. Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, for hearing Senate Bill 215. The committee substitute to the original bill inadvertently applied to a section of the statute related to municipalities. The committee sub amends KRS Section 224, which relates to state air emission standards. Also, the original bill could have been interpreted to prohibit state agencies from implementing some emission standards that could been required by the federal government. The committee substitute before you narrows the focus to prohibit state agencies from adopting California emission standards that require Kentuckians to purchase electric vehicles. Also, the original bill would have prevented counties from implementing these standards, but the federal law already precludes that. So I had them remove it from this bill. The committee substitute to Senate Bill 215 addresses a very specific problem that arose in California. In September of 2020, the California Air Resource Board implemented a rule that required 35% of all vehicles sold in their state to be electric by 2026, and all vehicles sold in California totally by 2035 be electric. The committee substitute to Senate Bill 215 is simple. It says no state cabinet, agency, department, or air pollution control district can implement those California emission standards in Kentucky. If people want to buy electric vehicles, Mr. Chairman, they should have that right, and this bill does not prohibit them. This is not a mandate. But the administration should not be able to tell Kentuckians they have to purchase electric vehicles. Can this happen in Kentucky? Yes. Currently under federal waiver, 10 states have adopted California standards for their states, including Virginia, one of our border states. Some states like Ohio and North Carolina are passing similar bills to 215 to prevent their governor from implementing these California standards. Bills like Senate Bill 215 are advancing this year in states like Kansas, West Virginia, simply to prevent this mandate. This bill does not do anything, once again, to keep people from having that right. And that's kind of why I brought it forward. It's what got my attention as we've had discussions over electric vehicles. You know, in my community, battery plants and different things have been part of our system, and we're not against that. But I don't think that I should have to buy that, or I don't think that I should be able to prevent somebody from buying it. So that's what the bill does. I'd be happy to answer any questions, Mr. Chairman.
We have a motion from Senator Wheeler, a second from Senator Elkins. Are there any questions before us? If not, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Senator Chambers Armstrong.
May I explain my no vote, Mr. Chair?
Yes, you may.
I appreciate the sub. Even with the sub, I worry that this is still endangering some federal funding and that it's not narrow enough. I also worry about some of the language tying the hands of the Transportation Cabinet. So I'm a no vote, but I appreciate your work.
Thank you.
Senator Elkins.
Aye.
Senator Harper Angel. No. Senator Mays Bledsoe. Aye. Senator McDaniel. Aye. Senator Nemes.
Aye.
Senator Storm.
Aye.
Senator Thayer.
like to explain my vote, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, you may.
I vote yes. I would have voted yes on the original version of the bill. I think it's important to bring this bill forward. You know, there are less than 5,000 electric cars currently registered in use in Kentucky. Clearly, Kentuckians aren't really excited about federal mandates and the federal government trying to force our behavior into buying a car that people may or may not want. If you want to buy one, that's fine, Senator Armstrong. It's a good-looking car. I'll never drive one, but I'm really glad you brought this forward today, and we may need to use language similar to this later on in another bill, like maybe the budget. Thank you. I vote aye.
Senator Wheeler.
Mr. Chairman, explain my aye vote.
Yes.
I want to appreciate the sponsor for bringing this bill. I really think that the current moves by the federal government towards electric vehicles at the speed that we're going are frankly absolutely ridiculous and counterproductive and really hurt poor people because they're forcing people into vehicles that they really can't afford. And if they are able to get one, it's usually because there's some type of government subsidy which they're paying for as well through their tax. I think it's a good bill. I think it's a common sense bill, as we always see from you, Senator Carpenter, and I'm glad to vote yes.
Senator Williams. Aye. Senator Mills.
I vote aye. Senate Bill 215 passes 9-2 and passes with favorable expression. Senator Carpenter, congratulations.
Appreciate it. Thank you very much. I didn't even get into any of my really good stories I was going to tell. I figured I'd save those for another day.
Save those for the next bill. Next up is Senator Boswell's bill, Senate Bill 58. Senator Boswell, if you come to the desk. Senator Boswell has a committee sub on this bill. If we could have a motion on committee sub. You have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay. Senator Boswell, you have the committee sub adopted in front of you. So if you'd like to explain real quickly about Senate Bill 58 as amended by committee sub.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Well, yes, I'm here to speak on Senate Bill 58 and Committee Sub 1. Committee Sub 1 simply changes the recall committee back to 3 people. It reinstates the affidavit process, and it reinstates the birth year on the petition. This bill simplifies the recall petition process in 3 ways. Number one, by deleting the Social Security number in Section 2D5. It allows for multiple signatures on one petition and eliminates a precinct number, which most people don't know. I would say that probably maybe 70% of the people, maybe 50% of the people in this room know their precinct number. It's a simple tax simplification, tax recall petition simplification bill.
Motion on the bill.
We have a motion from Senator Wheeler. We have a second from Senator Williams. Any further questions for Senator Boswell? Senator Boswell, thank you for bringing this to us. I think it's common sense. These days, people don't like to put their Social Security number on a document that they don't know, personally who they're giving that document to. So I think this is a very good change. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Senator Chambers Armstrong. Senator Elkins.
Aye.
Senator Harper Angel.
Explain my vote, Mr. Chairman.
Oh, yes, you may.
With all due respect to the senator, I vote no because I think this is only going to make it easier to reduce school funding. And also it's removing transparency. One of the first things we do as candidates is check filing signatures to make sure that they're correct. So this is going to remove a transparency that we're always trying to move toward. It also will make it easier to falsify a petition. And if you're going to want to sign a petition, you ought to be open to that. So I vote no.
Senator Mays Bledsoe. Senator McDaniel. Senator Nemes.
Aye.
Senator Storm. Senator Thayer. Senator Wheeler.
Aye.
Senator Williams.
I'd like to explain my aye vote. I'm old enough to remember when they promised us Social Security numbers would never be used for identification. And quite frankly, after years of them being used, we found out that was a security risk for many people. So I gladly vote aye for this.
Senator Mills.
I vote aye. Senate Bill 58, as amended by Committee Sub 1, passed with favorable expression 9-2. Senator Boswell, congratulations.
Thank you.
Yes. All right. Next up is Senator Wilson. He has a couple bills on our agenda. First item he is going to look at is Senate Bill 229. And Senate Bill 229 does have a committee sub. Do we have a motion on the committee sub? Motion to adopt. We have a motion and a second to adopt the committee sub. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Senator Wilson, the bill as amended by 229 is before you.
Thank you, Chairman Mills and members of the committee. Appreciate it. I'm Senator Mike Wilson, District 32, and I have my guest with me from the League of Cities, is very, very familiar, is Brianna. So she will be here to answer any questions you may have about the bill. But what you have before you is Bill 229. It's legislation that changes the name of board appointments in statute, and it comes as a dissolution of the Kentucky Municipal Utilities Association. They kind of went defunct because of the pension obligations and no longer in existence. So it clarifies the name of an ex officio member from Municipal Utilities to Blockchain Technology Working Group as designated by the Kentucky League of Cities instead of the KMUA. It also adds 2 members from a list of 6 nominees representing municipal utility to the Kentucky Infrastructure Authority, and one of whom provides water and waste services, and the nominees will be submitted by the League of Cities. One of the things it does, it increases the allowed amount that an appointed municipal electric plant superintendent may obligate the plant on purchase orders without board approval to $40,000 up to a current amount, or up from a current amount of $20,000. This is actually bringing it back in line, or putting it in line with what we did before with cities. Correct? On that. And so that's pretty much the bill. And if there are any questions, I'd be glad to answer.
We have a motion from Senator Williams. Is there a second? Second. We have a second from Senator Thayer. Any other questions from Ms. Carroll or Senator Wilson? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Senator Chambers Armstrong. Senator Elkins.
Aye.
Senator Harper Angel. Senator Mays Bledsoe. Senator McDaniel. Senator Nemus.
Aye.
Senator Storm. Senator Thayer. Senator Wheeler. Senator Williams. Senator Mills.
I vote aye. Senate Bill 229 passes with favorable expression 11-0. All right, Senator Wilson, you have another bill before us.
I do.
This is Senate Bill 8. So if Ms. Carroll quickly gets up and moves away. Senator Wilson's there at the desk by himself.
Right.
All right, Senator Wilson, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Senate Bill 8, what you have before you is actually the bill that gives voters the chance to make important choices on who is making the broad policy decisions about the education of their youth. We currently have 171 school districts where all of their boards are elected, every single one of them. This is the only board of education that is appointed by the governor. This would change this board to be an elected board. And opponents of this bill have told me that they say that filing a bill like this is due to politics. But I would beg to differ, because ever since we created this board, and let me say we created this, the General Assembly created it, and we created the board, which we have the power to do. We have the power to change the board. And when we did, we have had, and we created the department and the board itself to be outside of the governor's cabinet. However, we gave the governor the appointments to the board, and every governor we've had since that time has sought to be the governor of education and education policy. And most recently, of our last two governors, we've had both sides of the aisle, Republican and Democrat, have sought to control the board with their appointments. And we saw this most recently with our current governor, where he sought to disband the board and then reappoint all those of his party to the board. The board in itself and KDE have sought to become more of a control organization rather than a support organization, what they're supposed to be for our school districts. I think it's time that we made them accountable to the people that actually put their kids in our schools. And that is what this bill would do. The bill actually gives rural voters and rural parents more say in who runs the state schools, rather than such heavy reliance on executive appointments from Jefferson and Fayette counties, which is only really basic fairness, in my opinion. And it will also geographically make the board diverse. The policies developed will hopefully reflect the broader needs and interests of all Kentuckians. Now, I want to tell you that the way this works, the elections would not take place until 26, and so that they would coincide with the regular elections of the General Assembly. And the way it would be 14 members of the board would be elected, and each Supreme Court district, which there are 7, would be split in half in Section 1 and Section 2. Those in Section 1 would be elected for a 2-year term. Those in Section 2 would be elected for a 4-year term. Thereafter, it would always, for every 2 years, they would be elected for a 4-year term. They would be alternating, just like it is for the Senate and how it alternates for us. That way you're replacing 7 board members every 2 years. Like that, but they would serve out 4-year terms. But the first one would only serve 2-year term until it gets going. Also, there would still be the ex officio members of CPE. The head of CPE would be an ex officio non-voting member. And then also the head of the Cabinet of Education and Economic Development would be also the not economic development. Anyway, workforce would be an ex officio member. And then the Commissioner of Education would also be the secretary. And the only way that the commissioner would ever be a voting member is if there were a statistical tie of the 14 members of the board. You would still have a sitting teacher and a sitting student that would be non-voting members advising the board on that. And they would serve a 1-year term as it's spelled out in the bill. And with that, I am happy to answer any questions on the bill.
Motion on the bill as amended.
Second.
We have a motion from Senator Thayer on Senate Bill 8. We have a second from Senator Williams. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Senator Chambers Armstrong.
May I explain my no vote, Mr. Chairman?
Yes, you may.
I believe that party politics have no place in the classroom, and in the 90s we made a decision to take politics out of the classroom with Kira. I think that was a good decision. A majority of states have made the same decision, including 8 out of the 10 top performing school districts that have appointed boards. In fact, there are only 5 school districts by my research that have partisan elections for their boards of education. And so for that reason, I vote no.
Senator Elkins.
Aye.
Senator Harper Angel. Senator Mays Bledsoe.
May I explain my vote, please?
Yes, you may.
Thank you, Chairman. And I vote aye. Although I do just want to share some of the concerns I've heard from people about third-party independent expenditures, money in those races that will have an influence on what voices get out and what message gets heard. And I think that does give me pause in how some of those races might be decided. But I certainly appreciate the intent of what you're trying to do with the bill. Thank you.
Senator McDaniel. Senator Nemus.
Aye.
Senator Storm.
Explain my yes vote.
Yes, you may.
Thank you for bringing the bill. I have heard from a constituent that was concerned about whether or not he would be able to run and serve on one of these boards given his employment with the state. So that is somewhat interesting to me. It's somewhat concerning, but I do appreciate your work on this, and I vote aye.
Thank you.
Senator Thayer. Aye. Senator Wheeler.
Aye.
Senator Williams.
I'd like to explain my yes vote.
Yes, you may.
I am also old enough to remember when we had elected school board superintendent, and making him appointed has not changed or helped education since then. It's only gone downhill. So I'm showing my age. But I would also like to say I was contacted by constituents who are current school board members and would like to run for this, and they were very much in favor of it. And there's one line where they can't have served for 4 years. I would like to have a discussion about that in caucus at some point on that, because I think we have some school board members who would be excellent candidates for this, including the several that called me. Thank you.
Senator Mills.
I vote aye. Senate Bill 8 passes with favorable expression 9-2. Congratulations, Senator Wilson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members of the committee.
All right, we have one more bill on our agenda, and it is a bill that I have filed, so Co-Chair Nemus is going to chair the meeting. But before I walk down here, I might give Senator Storm has a guest that he might want to introduce.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I do have a guest with me today. Lorna Patches, who is the Director of Leadership Development with CSG, is my guest. I'd ask this body to make her feel welcome.
Go ahead. Go ahead, Phil.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to note one of my mayors from Louisa, Kentucky, Harold Sloan's in the audience, and I know Mayor Jimmy Carter of Pikeville, my hometown, was here earlier, so I'd like to make them feel welcome here today as well.
Next item, and the last one, is Senate Bill 44, sponsored by Senator Mills. It's an act relating to elections.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Senate Bill 244 that you have before you addresses the primary ballot order for candidates and slates of candidates to be voted on by the entire state. Currently, the order is determined by an alphabetical order in Congressional District 1, and then for each district following that, District 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, the first name on top is dropped to the bottom, and everybody moves up, and that continues on through the state. Senate Bill 244 changes the order to draw to a draw, and I think that that's fair to where everybody will have a chance to be number one or number two on the ballot in each congressional district.
Motion on the bill.
If you have,
Second.
We have a motion and a second on the bill. Is there any discussion?
Yeah.
Senator McDaniels?
So under this, there would be an independent draw for each congressional district.
yes,
So there is obviously if there's two candidates, 50-50 distribution is possible. But also, one candidate could end up in the top slot in every congressional district.
it could. In my opinion, it's the person with an alphabetical name, Z or Q or whatever, has no chance of having to being at the top of the ballot at all. But there is a statistical chance that one person could be number one in each in two or three.
So am I misunderstanding the current then? Because I thought right now it was by alphabetical in the first congressional district, and then the number two candidate would be alphabetical in the second, or would be top in the second.
It's the top one moves down to the bottom and everybody moves up.
Right.
So if you happen to be in the bottom of the alphabet, you never have a chance to ever be number one on the ballot. And in my opinion, number one and two on the ballot on some of these statewide races where you have 12 people, it's a big advantage. So this gives everybody a fair chance to be number one on the ballot.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Is there any further discussion? If not, Madam Secretary, will you call the roll?
Senator Chambers Armstrong. Aye. Senator Elkins.
Aye.
Senator Harper Angel. Aye. Senator Mays Bledsoe. Aye. Senator McDaniel. Aye. Senator Nemus.
Aye.
Senator Storm. Aye. Senator Thayer. Aye. Senator Wheeler,
Aye.
Senator Williams, Senator Mills.
I vote aye.
11 to 0.
With 11 to 0 vote, Senate Bill 44 passes with favorable expression.
Motion for consent.
Too soon for that. Go ahead and adjourn. Let him do it. Having nothing else for the committee, we are adjourned.